Hi, everybody. I wanted to review theme with you before you started your assessment. So, first of all, the theme is a message about life that a writer wants you to understand. So, you could think of the theme as the life lesson or moral of the story or that big message that the author wants you to take away. Now, a theme is going to be a full sentence, and again, it's a life lesson. Sometimes people get confused between the topic of a story and the theme. So, the topic would just be what the story is about, usually 1 to 2 words. But again, the theme is going to be a full sentence life lesson. So, for example, somebody might say, well, the story is about kindness. Sure, but that's a topic, not a theme. So, if the topic is kindness, some themes or life lessons that could come from that would be treat others the way you want to be treated. Again, a topic is just going to be 1 to 2 words, but a theme would be a full sentence life lesson like treat others the way you want to be treated. Now, we're going to look at some recurring themes as well. So, a recurring theme means a theme that usually occurs in many different stories. So, those just keep popping up in stories that you read. So, some examples: don't judge a book by its cover. You'll see that one in many different stories. Treat others the way you want to be treated, or keep trying no matter what. So those are recurring themes or popular themes that you'll see in many different stories or movies. Now, in ELA, we talked about 4 clues to help you find the theme, and it depends on the story which one of those would be the most applicable. But depending on what it's called, sometimes the title will help you come up with a theme. Many times, the conflict would help you, the main problem, the characters and what the characters learned. And sometimes there might be some symbols in the story as well, something that stands for something deeper that could help you figure out the message that the author is trying to get you to learn. Now, we're going to look at the story, The Three Little Pigs, because I'm hoping many of you have already read that story. So, just a quick summary, just in case anybody hasn't. So, we have 3 little pigs who are brothers. The first little pig is making a house and he decides, oh, I'm going to make my house out of straw because it's quick and easy. But when the big bad wolf comes, he just blows that house made of straw right down. And that first little pig runs to the second brother's home. Now, the second brother also was kind of lazy and just built his house out of sticks, which was quick and easy as well. Big bad wolf gets there, blows that house right down too. Then the first 2 brothers run to the third little pig's house. However, they're lucky because that brother took the time to do it right and built his house out of bricks, even though it took a lot longer. But then the 3 brothers are safe because when the big bad wolf gets there, he tries and tries, but he cannot blow down that house made of bricks. Now, we could use really many of these clues, but for this story and a lot of stories, conflict and character are probably the ones that are going to help you the most. So let's look at conflict and character for the 3 little pigs. And there are some questions that we can ask ourselves that hopefully will help us come up with the theme or, again, the life lesson that we could take away from the 3 little pigs. So if we look at the conflict first, which is, again, is the problem, well, what conflicts do the characters face? Well, they have this big bad wolf that's trying to eat them, and that wolf is blowing down their houses. And then, more importantly, if you look at how the conflicts are resolved or how does that problem end? So the first 2 little pigs are, at risk of being eaten because the big bad wolf blew their houses down, but the conflict is resolved because once they get to their brother's house who took the time to do it right and made the house out of bricks, they're safe. So again, it's resolved by them finding safety at the brick house. Now, we can also look at the characters, and I think the characters will honestly help you the most. So, first of all, how do the characters respond to that conflict or problem? Okay, well, first, they're very, very, very fearful, and then they feel safe once they're at the brick home. And the most important question you can ask yourself is this last one: what do the characters learn by the end? And or how do they change? So if we think about the 3 little pigs, I'm sure what those first two little pigs and the third brother who took the time to do it right, I'm sure they learned a huge lesson by the end. And that huge lesson that the characters learned would help us figure out what the reader learns as well. And I'm hoping as you think about those 4 questions, you're thinking, okay, based on the conflict in characters, especially, what's the big message or lesson that I could take away from the 3 little pigs? Take the time to do it right the first time. Okay, again, those first 2 pigs, they just rushed through it for the quick and easy fix. But the brother who did it right the first time and took his time, his efforts were rewarded and they were safe. So again, the main theme of the 3 little pigs would be to take the time to do it right the first time. And you can use these clues to help you figure out the theme in any story and hopefully in your assessment. Now, once you get to the assessment portion, you are going to write a short paragraph on the overall theme of the story. And this is what the question is going to ask. What is the overall theme of the story? So again, theme, life lesson. So what's the overall theme or life lesson of the story? Use textual evidence to support and explain your answer. Be sure to write in complete sentences and proofread for correct punctuation. Again, textual evidence just means examples from the passage or from the text. Those can be quoted, but they don't have to be. They can all be in your own words. Now, I'm hoping you're thinking, well, how should I set this up? And I'm hoping you came up with an APE response. And just a reminder, since you're in 7th grade, we do expect you to use multiple pieces of textual evidence, which would mean a good way to set it up would be APE, PE. And I want to briefly review that with you, and then you can look back at this slide as needed as you're writing your response. So first of all, the A would be to answer the question. And the question was, what is the main theme of your story? Now, reminder when you're answering that question, use keywords from that prompt question. And please also include the author and the title. So if I were doing this for the 3 Little Pigs, I would say, in The 3 Little Pigs by Joseph Jacobs, the main theme is to take the time to do it right the first time. Okay, I just answered the question. Now, next I'm going to prove it with textual evidence. So basically, I need to prove it with an example from the passage. I can quote it, or I can put it in my own words. And honestly, most of you do better when you put those examples in your own words. So I could say, for example, the first 2 little pigs don't take the time to build their houses correctly, and their lives are at risk because the big bad wolf blew their houses down. Okay, now I'm proving it, and then I'm going to explain how that answers the question. So I could say something like, by the end of the story, the first 2 pigs surely learned that they should have taken the time to do it right the first time so that their lives aren't at risk. This then teaches the reader to do tasks right the first time, even if they're going to be difficult or take a long time. Now, basically, that was APE. Now, to get the higher scores, I'm going to want to come back and prove it again. So APE, PE. So I could say something like, another example would be when, and then I give another example from the story of how to prove that theme. Same thing, then I would explain how that answers the question. Okay, so you are ready to figure out the theme for your assessment. Please refer back to this video as many times as you need to, and especially this slide for how to set it up. You've got this, and I wish you good luck.